Welcome back to the show this afternoon.
As we start back into our barrow show, certainly a good class to do so. The barrow that I start with, over to my left, I think just the fundamentals are the most right on him. He's opened up coming to you, he's square leaving you, got a good look to him, and I think to me he's the most genuine in terms of his muscle shape, his composition, and his feet and legs. Good barrow to start class one. The barrow that's in class, or it ends up second in class, is a hog. It's maybe just a little bit more moderate than what is your clapping barrow, or even the one that's in third. I like his rib cage. I love his width coming right at me, and I think the barrow is still comfortable enough whenever you set him into motion behind. For me to call him a class winner, I just like to pick him up, extend him, just give him more true and honest shape whenever you're right up on top of his back. That's what I love about the barrow that's in third. I think he's extended and he's lean, a hog that just gets too flat in his body. He doesn't have near the substance and the foot and bone of what we have in first and second, but a real nice looking one from the profile. Just got to get him to ease a little better around the ring. Like to stout him up just a pinch more. That's what I like about the barrow in four. I think he's a powerful hog, reads with lots of shape, just comes in too many pieces up high, gets a little straighter out of his hind legs. Young ladies, it'll close the class good in terms of muscle. A barrow that, just for me, needs to be sounder off either end of his skeleton. He wants to tuck his hind legs up underneath him, gets just a pinch too flat through his blade, too upright in his forearm and shoulder, but a nice barrow to fight. Good way to start the barrows. Give those kids a nice warm welcome back and a good round of applause. Congratulations.
And the results of your Class 1 Berkshire Barrows: first place goes to Aurora Roberts, second place Bryce Chandler, third place Luke Sanford, fourth place Matthew Goodpasture, and fifth place Olivia Woolhams. Congratulations to all those exhibitors. Now, those of you that were here for the Gilt Show this morning, right before the lunch break, I was kind of going through the list of things that Putnam County does right and Putnam County does good. This is the one that's the very most important. Putnam County puts together a great swine show with a lot of great animals for our judge to judge and a lot of great exhibitors. So I want to hear the loudest round of applause that we've had yet this morning and today for all these young exhibitors as they come out and begin the barrow show this afternoon.
Excellent class of Berkshires. I think we've got two of them in the top end of this particular class that both have quality. The bear I start with, I think he's the one that just kind of surpasses his contemporary in terms of width and product. Bear that's big in his blade and open up in his chest. Bold and square in terms of his body, and his loin edge opens up wide, leaving you, still takes a nice step on both ends, maybe a little more moderate than what is your barrow that ends up here in second, but I think it is in a basic sense, everything fits together. Darn good show barrow to win class 2. The hog that's in second, you just study his feet and legs, and the fundamentals are right on that barrow. Got a big rear paw, and he utilizes his hind leg appropriately. Love his shape to his lower hip and stifle. He comes apart just a skosh more, right in behind his shoulder. His blade will start to set away from his forerib. Not as much punch into his mid-body. You come at him, and that barrel just needs to be square, and where his knee sets in his forearm from there back. It's very impressive Berkshire barrow to go ahead and be in second. Lots of power and product in the barrow that's in third. I'd like to just go ahead and clean him up right in behind his sheath. Square his rear two legs up as he turns and drives away from me. Not as neat looking out there through the bottom side of his neck, but a very powerful barrow to go ahead and be third. We get down the lineup in 4, 5, and 6, and for me it's just about feet and legs alone and the way that we sort of love the shape and look of the young lady's barrow. Just like to make him a little stouter. Young man's for me gets too tied up in his hip. Then we close with a barrow that wants to just kind of duck and roll his hind legs. Not as much real muscle. Awesome class, really good top pair. Again, my compliments to the group of them.
The results of your Class 2 Berkshire Barrows: first place, Braden Monett; second place, Lane Parent; third place goes to Molly Trammell; fourth, Mackenzie Stoltz; fifth, Tyler Hankins; and sixth place, Brett Van Rensselaer. Congratulations, exhibitors.
Good job.
The loud mark barrow, the young man in the green or the blue plaid's got, is going to be my class winner. And I think amongst the pair of them that both are built very similar. That one's wider coming at you. He's better in his knee and his forearm. And then he just explodes with more shape from there back down his top. Awesome out of the lower part of his hip, real squared and yet still wide walking behind, yet still handles them good. Gets a little rotated and round in the point of his shoulder blade, and they're out of his hip. But I think the barrow in second does the same thing. I like this barrow's width and muscle and composition better. The hump that's in second, whenever you get off to the profile of it, just an extended, good-looking show barrow. It still has muscle in the mid part of his loin. Young man's done a good job of getting him shown as well. Just like to go ahead and square him up better, right in behind his blade. Give him a stouter hind leg to go along with the muscle mass he's got up high. Young ladies, or young man's there that'll come next is one that's very powerful. We got the young ladies here that we like in terms of shape, just a pinch better. The barrow there that the young man has, I've got to make more coordinated and just more comfortable whenever he gets out of his rear part of his skeleton. The other ones I just study in terms of muscle alone and lean cutout, and I think to me that's where those two will end up splitting here or towards the rail. I think both of those barrows have some quality from a product standpoint. Both of them need to be sounder. Congratulations to them.
Your Class 3 Berkshire Barrows. First place goes to Gunnar Eastep. Second, Styles Stotch. Third place, Louis Oliver. Fourth, Kyle Spencer. Fifth, Andrea Neese. And sixth, Owen Huff. Congratulations.
Certainly two nice barrows to round out your Berkshire Barrow division. The fresher built one is going to go ahead and win. He's better at the top of his neck. Good turn to his back, some spread. Whenever you're right there in behind him, you'd like to maybe open him up. Just coming right to you and right in the lower part of his rib. And that barrow's very good, though, in terms of his skeleton behind. Like his look, a good pattern barrow to go ahead and win. Bigger cage sets in second, just too short and steep in his rump and needs to handle his hind wheels better. Good job done by the pair of them. Give them a nice round of applause as we exit or close here in our Berkshire division.
And the results of that Class 4 Berkshire Barrows: first place, Ethan Ham. Second place, Emma Callahan.
We got our 4 Berkshire Barrows back out here, and 4 very, very high quality birds. I ask you to put your hands together for these 4 young men. Wading through lots of quality, good 4 barrows out here, and there's differences in the kind and the way that they're built and shapes and sizes of them. I think for me, amongst the pair or the 4 of them, there's a pair of them that both have some extreme good in them, and whenever you begin to study them, I think one of them just has a shot more to him everywhere. Wider built, bigger bladed. He's, to me, compositionally a hog right there, and where maybe covers that, but I do think an extremely, extremely good Berkshire barrow to win this particular division. Just wider, stouter, and bolder than the rest of them. Haven't seen one like him in the Berkshires, and so for me, from that standpoint, we're going to go ahead and use him. I don't know what his problem is right now, but a darn good Berkshire barrow. Young man's will be your champion. Congratulations to him. brings out the barrow that was second in that class, and I talked about him, just how good he is in terms of stability behind, got a big paw, stout hind leg, a barrow that maybe doesn't balance quite as well from the profile as you get to the top of his neck and you transition him into the backside of his shoulder blade. Maybe not quite as good right there at his knee. I think another one out there, give you an impressive look to him from the side. Got an awesome build and presence to him off of both ends of his skeleton. Maybe not as much to him whenever you're right up on top of him. I just think he's a little more correct out of the front end of his skeleton. Young man's heavyweight barrow will be your reserve. Congratulations to him.
Champion Berkshire Barrow is exhibited by Brave Monnet, with your reserve champion Berkshire Barrow exhibited by Ethan Hand. Congratulations.
Good Chester barrows to start. Young man's there on the far side. It's my class winner. I just think a barrow that sets down with more substance, more correct on his feet and legs, and probably just a pinch more toned down in terms of his muscle, allowing him to stay more comfortable on both ends. Not saying he's not a shapely hog, because he's got plenty of it when you're up on top of him. I love his build and balance and design. Barrow that's in second, moderate, wide, and chubby build. A hog that just needs to be bigger legged to compare with what he has up high. I don't like him quite as well out of his hip and hind leg, the way that he uses them behind, but definitely a wide built one with some rib. Same thing with the young man's that'll close your class. Again, just got to go ahead and clean him up in terms of where he's at condition wise for his frame, give him more shape and fix his hind legs. Congrats to him.
And the results of your Class 5 Chester White Barrows. First place goes to Dylan Sutherland, with second place Matthew Perkins, third place Remington Garrow. Congratulations.
as we work into this class. I think the combination of what we have and the length of pattern and ability to move is the one that I start with in the young man's, and yeah, still having the feature of the one that's in third, really good in terms of his look, real fresh whenever you're right up on top of his back, big stout legs that go along with a bold kind of a build. I don't know that he's just maybe perfect there out of his rear wheels. I don't know that any of them are in this particular class. There's times where we'd like to set him probably just a little deeper in his heel, or just make him a little bigger in his rear feet for as stout as his bone column is. But man, everything proportions right, huge back in him, very, very square and clean in his joints, leaving you good Chester barrow to go ahead and start. I love the length of pattern and just the lean shape that the barrow in second has. For me, from the profile, he probably takes his hind leg a little far up in front of his sheath. He's not as good on his front feet as what your class winner is. I think he's got more shape in his lower hip. He's the better looking barrow ahead of his blade than what we have in the barrow that's in third. I think frame size and bone standpoint, the barrow in third looks the most like your class winner. Whenever I begin to study his head in relationship to his body, his head reads too chubby and just too jammed up, his hips short, and then he gets too flat whenever he turns and leaves you. I like this barrow from the side. I think he's a tall-fronted, length of body is good, length of spine is good in that barrow. He gets too unstable out of his rear too, wants to pull his hocks in whenever you get in behind him. He's the stalest of the heavyweight Chester barrows through his rib and right at the top of his neck. I can't get him to move up enough just simply in the way that he's built out of his hind legs. I liked this barrow whenever he initially came out. I thought, well, heads up barrow, that's short-bodied and big rib and decent in terms of his movement. The longer I watched him go behind, the wider walking he got. For me, it's just got to be about compositional correctness and then keeping him right behind. Young ladies that'll close the class is too far down on all four of his feet. Got to get to moving better. Just give him a little cap or back on his hocks. Maybe just not quite as attractive. Set of hogs. Congrats to him.
The results of your class.
Two really nice Chester barrows. I do like that Class 1 winner. I think fundamentals are good in that hog. Maybe not presented just like that one there, but that's a good lightweight Chester barrow that's big boned and good moving. Going to be a good fit one whenever we continue to put him on the pattern. The one that wins Class 2 just kind of looks like he needs to win. Big rib, right built, good look, and yeah, it's still fresh. Talked about his rear feet just a little bit out here on the surface. I think that's harping on a good one. Young Mans is your champion. Congratulations to him. Brings out the barrow that was second in that class. A little different kind of pattern to him. Obviously a barrow that's definitely a bigger scaled and longer bodied and a hog that to me still has so much shape and youth. Just still, to me, for as big as he is, has some youthfulness out front. Just a hog that didn't have the substance or wasn't as good on his front feet as what your champion was. I still think out here amongst the pair of them that probably look the most similar, he has quite a bit more to him everywhere. The reserve will come out of Class 2. Congratulations on him.
The results of your Class 6 Chester White Barrow. First place, Branson Hanley. Second place goes to Brinley Clark. Third, Chase Monett. Fourth, Hanley Everman. Fifth, Evan Steffi. And sixth, Hannah York. Your champion, Chester White Barrow, was exhibited by Branson Hanley, with the reserve champion, Chester White Barrow, exhibited by Brinley Clark. Congratulations to all exhibitors.
really good way to start the Duroc barrows. I think there's 3 or 4 of them in this respected drive that you know, you could really start to get along and just talk about the good things and the positives. And yeah, there's a few negatives, but man, the good ones come to you very, very good in this particular class. The one I start with, to me, about both the hogs that have some pattern and width to them, this guy leaves you just a pinch square, and where his wheels will set, I like his comfort level and his range of motion out of his hip and hind leg better than I do the barrow that's in second. He's maybe not as attractive out front of his shoulder, maybe not as elevated up front, but that's a stout Duroc barrow that has a good running gear, hard to beat him in Class 1. Love the outline of the barrow that's in second. I just think, to me, he comes a little straighter up through his shoulder whenever he turns and drives away from me. He turns his hind legs in instead of keeping them square and genuine, and I think, to me, that leads to his undoing because he becomes the short stepper of the top pair. Neat looking barrow, wide build, has bone, neat look to his head. I just got to go ahead and make him move better comparatively to your class winner. The barrow that's in third, I love that barrow's stoutness. I mean, there is not another one in here that's any bolder in their blade, any stouter in their head, or any stouter in terms of their hind leg. I mean, he's got a massive hind leg to him, and I love that about him. I think this is a time where maybe we could learn. You know, we get their heads up so high so many times that hogs don't look comfortable, and I think right now that's the case in that barrow. If we let that hog go, he's another real stout, wide-built, shapely one. He's just one of those that we get to whipping and spurring up front on him, and he looks too short stepping and out in his elbow. The one that comes next, I love him in terms of his body. I just got to go ahead and make sure that that barrow has more bone and feature to match what he has up high, and then turn his back with a little more spread down the lineup. We got a nice set of hogs. Soundness is what sorts the bottom pair. That guy still needs to be better out of his hip. Gets a little too round and coarse for me. Young man's has an injury back there to his hind leg that needs to be fixed to move up. Congratulations to him. Good class. Like the top 3, sort them on build. I like the top pair. Good deal.
The results of your Class 7 Duroc barrows: first place, Bryn Shuey; second place, Lindsay Hood; third place, Bryn Shuey; fourth place, Carissa Crosby; fifth, Isaac Pickle; and sixth place, Cameron Hankins. Congratulations. We just leave the top 3 out in this class. I do think
for me, one of them comes away. I like them. The young lady right there in the purple's got a barrow that's got a neat look to him from the side. He is wide built, coming at you, incredibly widespread, leaving you, and yet still a good running gear. He's maybe wanting to get a little flustered and fight her just a bit. Doesn't quite have that skin and hair presentation of what those other two barrows do in second and third. But guys, I'm here to tell you that's a pretty darn good Duroc barrow to win this particular class. The one that's in second, for me, the darker skin barrow ends up there simply on the standpoint of freshness of back. Love his shape out of each side of his spine. Rolls up good down there through the lower part of his hip and down through his stifle. A barrow that just not stout enough to be competitive with your class winner, but a good one there. The one that's in third, that young lady's had just a heck of a time getting him shown. A barrow that has a big rib in him, and he's soft and comfortable and pliable. He just has to have more shape and look to him to be competitive. Just need to go ahead and turn his back up a little better. From there down, it's just sorted on soundness. Good class of Durocs. Congratulate him with a nice round of applause.
The results of Class 8 Duroc Barrows: first place, Mackenzie McCullough; second place, Andrea Neese; third place, Taylor Hensley; fourth, Matthew Goodpaster; fifth place goes to Garrett Hutchison; and sixth place, Hannah Summers.
Class 3 Duroc barrows come to us real good. We've got a monster truck to win, a wide build, big back, really, really bold one whenever he leaves you. Got bones to match it, a hog that just opens up perfectly square on both ends of his skeleton. He's one that's got a giant fresh rib in him, neck and chine and everything buried low into his shoulder. I just like a lot of things about that particular barrow to go ahead and start this class. Very, very unique Duroc barrow to win Class 3. I think the stronger top line barrow may be in second. Whenever you get to the side of him, his loin will say just a little truer in him from the profile, up-headed and elevated up front. He doesn't have near the width of chest nor shape to his blade and the lower side of his blade, nor feature and foot at the ground of what your class winner does. But man, is that a good looking one with a good running gear, little shorter right in the upper part of his rump. But I do think that's a strong top, shapely, fresh looking one. that ends up second in this particular class. Like the length of pattern and the width of skeleton of the barrow that's in third. Wish he could handle each end of his body with more comfort. As I work towards his shoulder and I work back to his hind leg, he's just too straight and upright on both ends. Got to flex and let him go better. Young man looks like maybe he's fighting a little down foot up front, maybe a little scuff to his plastron or something. He needs to be better up front. I still see more muscle and shape and leanness in that barrow than I do the hog that'll close the class. Maybe takes a little nicer step. That barrow just gets plenty chubby and plain. Good way to end the Duroc, sir. Good way to go ahead and be in class 3 here. My compliments to the group up. Give the kids a nice round of applause again.
Your Class 9 Duroc Barrows. First place goes to Jackson Parmley. Second place, Kyle Spencer. Third, Rainey Burge. Fourth, Briggs Porter. And fifth place, Katie Barger.
Maybe fired off a little early. We had a young lady there, I believe was probably in the last class or so, and so they're trying to get barrel ready and up to the ring, and so she maybe came just a little late. Be glad that she showed up, or she should at least. They got a real good Duroc barrel in class 4 in terms of width and power, bulk, and just massiveness. That barrel out here amongst the group of them is so much fresher than the rest of them. He's maybe just a little more labored up front through his shoulder, but I don't seem any worse than what we may have throughout the lineup, so he's an easy class winner. The barrel that's in second, a big rib and lots of muscle and product in that hog. He too needs to be fixed up through his front end and down through his knee. Like to see him take just a pinch longer of a stride, but how much longer do you need of a stride if you got a barrel that has muscle and yet still compositionally to me comparatively in this particular class? He ends up being the second best one. The barrel that's in third maybe does take a little longer build to him, and like his turn and his curve to his mid-body, barrel that just gets too plain and too frail to move up. Young ladies will close the class as a hog that compositionally for me needs more muscle comparatively to his chub or to his condition. I'd like to clean him up front and fix his legs. Good job. Good class winner. Congrats to him.
For Class 10 Duroc Barrows, first place, Carissa Crosby. Second place, Mallory Lambermont. Third place, Corey Whaley. And fourth place, Adelia Thomas. Congratulations.
We get our 4 class winners back out here, and I ask if you would, real quick, put your hands together for them. Well-deserved all the way through. Good set of Duroc barrows. 4 classes of lots of tough calls. To me, amongst the group of them, I think there's one of them just kind of looks like he's ripe and ready to rumble in the Durocs, and it'll be interesting to see where he sets from there. But darn good one to win the Reds, young man. Congratulations to you. about the barrow that was second in that class. And again, I talked about him, his strength of loin, his look, his lines is good. I've got to open that barrow coming right at me and just go ahead, pry his blade apart and give him a bigger arm and a bigger rear foot. I love the shape in that barrow's top and the shape through his lower hip. You got your big heavyweight that came out and Lucky did a wide built, real good back one that's long and leveled about his rump. Gets to maybe just laboring a little harder up front. You got the young ladies that wins the second or third class there that you got to appreciate in terms of width and appreciate in terms of look and his pattern. Barrow that needs more true muscle whenever you ride up on top of it. I do love lots of things about him. You freshen him up and just begin to study him. And I'll tell you right now, that is a good Duroc barrow. Then you've got the lightweight class winner. And man, I love that hog whenever he came out. I think he's wide, he's stout, and he's still good moving. Little shorter about the upper part of his rump. If you're going to challenge him anywhere, I do think that's a darn good barrow as well. So my compliments to the group of them. The one I think looks the most like your champion, whenever it gets down to foot, bone, and with the skeleton, having some extra bulk and power to him. Young ladies, barrow out of Class 1's reserve. Congratulations, though.
And your champion Duroc barrow was exhibited by Jackson Parmalee, with your reserve champion Duroc barrow exhibited by Brent Shuey. Congratulations to both those exhibitors. Lee Fordyce. Lee Fordyce, could you please come to the announcer's stand? Lee Fordyce.
Young lady's black, white front-legged barrows, my class winner again. I just think he's the stouter version of what's in second. A little slow walking, but joints are built good. The barrow that's in second, again, maybe just the second most correct one in his feet and legs, and that's why he ends up second. Nice look to him, needs to be a little stouter everywhere. Barrow that's in third here, that's close to me, moderate, big-bellied hog, just needs more shape to him. And then the hog I'll close the class with just needs to be sounder on both ends. But a nice Hampshire barrow in terms of bone and muscle shape. Good job done by him. Again, very nice top pair. My compliments to the exhibitors. Give them a good round of applause here.
Class 11 Hampshire Barrows results. First place, Rainy Bird. Second, Isabella Summerlot. Third, Gage Martellero, and fourth, Dylan Sutherland.
we go. Very nice pair of Hampshire barrows as we sort into Class 2, and I think both of young people doing a good job. I start with the barrow that I read the most honest in terms of his width, in terms of his bone, his foot, and just his ability to get out and be more comfortable behind than what is the high-headed, real good presented barrow that's in second. I think heads down into a feeder, or whether they're just walking in a market, hog lot, or a show ring, this particular barrow is without a doubt the most genuine on both ends of his skeleton. He's more correct in the way that he handles his hind leg, a barrow that takes a longer, more fluid stride behind, big rib, nice look, and whenever you're out here next to him, he has more true width in behind his shoulder, more natural shape in his back than what the barrow does that's in 2. High-headed, great presented, and the young lady's is awesome stiff that's in second. Let her show them for me any day. I think, to me, if we are getting critical and where I have on hip and hind leg, that barrow's got to be second in class. Not only is he more fragile behind, but he's more uncoordinated. And where his hind two set, his rear feet are real close, his hump push is a pinch, you get into his four-ribted mid-body and he's too flat, and then I read him just a little too upright in through his shoulder and knee. But a very good presented barrow, very shapely barrow. I just don't read him as genuine as what we have in our class winner. The black-headed barrow that comes out next, he's short-bodied, moderate, and wide, and lots like that. I like him wide with muscle. I just don't think he balances. He's kind of got little bitty legs poking out of a big engine, and then you begin to watch him move, and the further that he goes, the wider he gets on his rear two. Got to go ahead and fix his stride behind, clean him up at the top of his neck. A barrow there that if you don't mind his color pattern, and obviously he can show like that, and if you can keep his hind wheels good enough, could probably move up. The one that comes next, big legs and lots of muscle, is good in terms of his feet and legs, though. Whenever you let him go, and then from there down and just sort him on muscle in a set of hogs that all need to be a little sounder. Congrats to him. Very comfortable in that placing. I think a good top pair. Give him a good round of applause.
The results of that Hampshire class of barrows: first place goes to Maddie Elliott, second place Alex Steffi, third Kennedy Clark, fourth Cheyenne Graham, fifth place Landon Clark, and sixth place Nathan Sutherland.
got a good fan club. Nice hand barrow to win Class 3. He's a barrow that from his hip forward, bottom side of his hip up and forward, very, very good hand barrow in terms of his rib, and just got an easy feeding kind of a look to him for a Hampshire barrow. Wide built coming at you. His rear two all right. You get right in behind him, and we've got to secure the way that his hawk will drive. I do like him from the side though, in the parts and pieces he puts together. Not another one in here, and he's square in those rear two that has his attributes of width and muscle and product, so we call him an easy class winner in this particular lineup. The one that's in second, not anything like him. He's definitely a little flatter made, but at least he's square and sound, and he looks like a barrow that's just kind of got up and done what he needed to do in terms of gaining. He looks like he's useful up front, a hog that has some shape to his back. Just a nice built one from the profile. I thought kind of landed in that second hole pretty handily. The barrow that's in third, lots of shape and muscle in him. Got a giant back and hip. Got to square his knee up coming right at me. Want to make his wheels sounder behind, but a really nice barrow in terms of just sheer muscle shape and product. I just wish that he could get out and move better. Young man's got the most unique stick that I've watched somebody show with quite some time, but neat deal there. Got a good kind of a Hampshire barrow if you're just strictly talking about the cutout value, being lean and muscular. A hog that for me just doesn't have as much to him, not as fresh up at the top of his neck. Got to open his body and his rib cage up. Young lady's there, right? She's done an awesome job with that barrow, skin and hair. Love his presentation out here. Those two have worked together quite a bit this summer, I'd say. I just wish he was sounder on both ends. He gets too flat-footed, too wide walking for me behind the bottom pair sorted on build and the bottom trio. Congratulate him with a good round of applause. Good way to end the Hampshire.
The results of Class 13 Hampshire Barrows. First place goes to Callie Whaley. Second place, Gage Martellar. Third place goes to Braden 2. Fourth place, Ethan Lawler. Fifth place, Emma Woodall. Sixth, Kennedy Lawson. Seventh, Madison Moore. And eighth place, Layla Downey. Congratulations to all those exhibitors.
We're going to have three class winners back out here, and I think three really nice barrows the young ladies do a good job with. One of them for me is just a stout-built, genuine barrow, and I talked about him. I think he's a solid hog, whether you're studying head jacked up like some of the kids can or down. Just a really, really good, honest Hampshire barrow will win Class 2 and be your champion. Congratulate that young lady if you could. She's driving your champion Hampshire barrow. Brings out the barrow that was second in that class. I thought that was a close placing. I love this barrow from the side. I think young lady is phenomenal at just getting one to drive and keeping that barrow's head up, making him look like he's got a good ring presence to him and keeping him square enough behind. Looks like he's kind of walking a tightrope whenever you get in behind him there on his rear two. I still think he's a little stouter than one of them, probably a little square in his rear joints than the other one. I thought that pair was very close, and I got to keep them together. Young ladies that was second will be reserved. Congrats to her.
And your champion Hampshire Barrow was exhibited by Maddie Elliott, with your reserve champion Hampshire Barrow exhibited by Alex Steffi. Congratulations, exhibitors.
Nice Hereford barrow to start your Hereford classes off with, and they tell me we've got 3 Hereford classes and good quality to go ahead and represent Class 1. Awesome on his feet and legs. Got some feature to him. Body's good. Looks good. Barrow just very fresh in his composition. Young lady's done a great job of presenting him as well. My compliments to her on a good class winner. Got a moderate wide stout one to be in second. I just think he comes with a little thicker kind of rear end and back comparatively to what we have in the barrow that ends up in third. Like to fix his hind two, leaving me. He gets just a little too narrow walking and just not quite as consistent in terms of his width from the top of his skeleton to the ground. Like to give him a pinch better look up front. That's what I love about the barrow in third. I think this hog, if we continue to push him on feet and get some more rib and swell his body up a little, that's good. That's a hog that's good on his feet and legs. Like his shape and his leanness and just his look out here. I just wish that barrow had some more to him. Let the bottom pair just simply sort on muscle on a pair of hogs that both need to move better. Congrats to them. Good way to start off the Hereford barrows. Extremely good barrow. Give them all a good round of applause.
The results of Class 14 Hereford Barrows. First place, Molly Trammell. Second place, Hanley Everman. Third place, Shelby Woods. Fourth, Hannah Summers. And fifth place, Isabella Brannaman. Congratulations to all those exhibitors.
Hereford projects have gotten a lot better than what they used to be, and I think the barrow that wins Class 2 exemplifies that. A hog that now in the Hereford division you can start to call opened up and neat looking and big ribbed and having some muscle. That is an elite Hereford barrow to win Class 2. The one that's in second, comparatively to the barrow that's in third, I just see compositionally being better. He's a little more toned down in terms of his cover, a little more turned up in his back shape. Same thing whenever he leaves you, just more depth down there through his lower hip and stifle. I like the shape of that barrow. I like to loose him up, just a gear behind it, and that's what probably you could talk about a little in the barrow that's in third here. Might take a little longer stride from the profile. Still at the same time, I've got to clean his joints up, go ahead and make that barrow just probably peel a little belly out of him just for his frame size to make him not look so moderate and just so fleshy out here, and fix his front end coming right at you. Again, the bottom pair is just simply sorted on skeletal correctness and width and the way that I split that bottom pair. Good set of them there, a really, really good class winner. Congratulate all of them again.
The results of that Hereford class of barrows. First place goes to Jaden Jones, with second place Braden Chew, third place Callie Whaley, fourth place Briley Schmitz, and fifth place Spencer Neese. Congratulations to all those exhibitors.
Again, a really good Hereford barrow class. Got a very good one to win. Fresh and shapely and nice look, and yet still moves them good comparatively to his contemporaries. The barrow that's in second there on the far side is a hog that offers probably more real massive look to him that year. Heavyweight Hereford barrow that's still fresh at the top of his neck. A barrow that just needs a transition with more muscle down his back than what the barrow has that ends up winning this particular class. So we go ahead and call him second. Hog in third's big and extended and a good scaled barrow that needs to move better behind. We get down to the bottom pair. We've got a barrow that for me sounder than what we have in five. The barrow that's in five just needs to go better behind. Looks like he's fighting an injury. Good class of Herefords. My compliments to them all.
Class 16, Hereford Barrows. First place, Kyle Spencer. Second, Allison Baston. Third, Emma Callahan. Fourth, Kaylee Rowings. And fifth, Stiles Stotch. Congratulations.
We have three class winners back out here, and these three young people have done a good job. Give them a nice hand, if you could, of those of you sitting around ringside. That's three good Hereford Barrows sitting at the county fair. Class 1 came to me. I thought to myself, I said, man, I don't know if they're going to come any better than he is. He's wide and he's good rib and he's got a nice look to him, very fresh whenever you just begin to study him, and he's good on his feet and legs. Class 2 then came to me, and I thought, oh man, we've got a good one to represent our Herefords out there, because he is wide and got a big arm and a big front foot, love his rib cage and got that extra look out front, and yes, still very shapely. And then we get into Class 3 and another good representative, very fresh in his back and very square on both ends. Maybe handles them a little tighter behind than what another one of these barrows does, or maybe a pair of them out here. I just think one of them has the look of one and the muscle shape of the other one, and is by far the best on his wheels. Young lady's barrow out of Class 2 is my champion. Congratulations to her. Brings out the barrow that was second in that class, and I talked about him and the quality that that barrow presented and muscle shape. A home that gets just a little more uncoordinated behind. I think for me it comes down to the lightweight and the heavyweight, and just kind of where you want to set your priorities. I've been a stickler on feet and legs. I want to keep them wide, I want to keep them good body, and I want to make sure that they get out and move good. I think one of them's probably a little more shapely, one of them probably just a little sounder. You can kind of pick your poison and what you want to do. The home that for me just probably stays together just a pinch better, even though we could call him just a little hinge tighter behind. Is a home that just has more honest shape to him, wider built, and just square on both ends. This young man's heavyweight will be reserved. Congratulations to him.
Your champion Hereford Barrow was exhibited by Jaden Jones, with your reserve champion exhibited by Kyle Spencer.
Set of Landrace. I think the young man's is a handle in this class, and I know he's not perfect there behind whenever he goes, but I don't know that any of them are, to be up front with you. So then we just use the extras of what he has in width and feature. Big rib cage, good shape up high. Just looks like the best one out here. Needs a handle just a little better behind. The one that ends up in second, like his length of pattern, really heavy muscled barrow. Doesn't want to just transition his top line together as smooth as what your class winner does. Pinching behind his shoulder, same thing in his ham loin hook up, a little tighter and more upright in his flank, and we can just go ahead and open him up at the base of his skeleton. One that's in third, sounder, and still has more shape than what's left on down the lineup. I simply sort of in terms of their feet and legs, and a set of hogs that probably all need a shot more to it. Congratulations to the whole group of them. Good set of Landrace barrows. Give this young man a good round of applause. Class winner and your champion, Landrace as well.
And the results of your Landrace barrow class. First place and champion goes to Evan Steffi. Second place and reserve champion goes to Aylin Everman. Third place goes to Kaylee Rowing. Fourth place, Dylan Sutherland. Fifth, Kaylee Rowing. And sixth, Brant Sheldon. Plenty of bears yet to go, but we want to invite you back at 7 o'clock p.m. this evening for the grand drive. We hope you'll all come back and join us for that. We will be doing the animals or the classes in this order. It will be litters, gilts, and then barrows. Litters, gilts, and then barrows. We will be calling champions and reserve champions from each category. We'll call reserve champions first, then the champions.
Nice set of pullings. Kind of challenging to work into. Again, I think we've got a top pair of them here that if I could put both of them together, all of a sudden an easy class winner. I'm going to be the first to admit the bear I start with is a little too round, a little more jammed up than what I like. I just keep kind of weighing the checks and balances, go back and forth, and all of a sudden here's the wide one, the big ribbed one, the thick back one that has still a nice look to him out in front there, even for being just a little more moderate. He's always trying to go to the bathroom, so it really does his top line no justice and makes him look look like he gets up underneath himself a little far. And from that standpoint, I wanted so many times to just start with the young ladies barrow. And I think this is a point in case right here. Maybe they've worked together a little bit more. Maybe they haven't. But if that barrow drives and he gets comfortable, that could be my class winner. He's big boned. He's got a good look to him. You get up on top of him, and I mean, he's fish back. There's nothing there. He needs more shape. He needs more shape in his hip. He's got to have more to him underneath, and we got to get a handle on him driving, because I still think even though you know, we're just trying to study the hogs, it is a show. We've got to have them broke and ready. Young lady did a good job right here, and I tell you, just simple showmanship alone has moved this young lady's barrow up the lineup, because he is too straight, up and down, behind, hip forward. That's the best one in class. Up behind, we've got to fix the way that he rotates and goes behind out of his rear too. He gets plenty straight and tight. Young lady did a great job presenting him. This is a good barrow too. I love his bone, I love his feet. He ran the whole class, and they could never get a good look at him. Too pinched in his ham loin. Needs to recorrect his step whenever he goes behind. Rest of them are simply sorted on muscle. The pair of them there in the bottom that need to move better of the trio. I just have to get out here and be more comfortable. My compliments to each and every one of them in this group. I do think a nice class. I didn't mean to harp too hard on them. I still like the top pair the way I sort them. Congratulations to the group.
The results of Class 18 Poland Barrows. First place goes to Ethan Ham. Second place, Aniston Sheehan. Third place, Rainey Bird. Fourth, Luke Sanford. Fifth place, Benjamin Huff. Sixth, Max Pickle. And seventh, Clay Haddon.
Young lady's got her good Poland barrow to win Class 2. Wide stout and got a nice look to him. Market home fundamentals are still right, and for me, a barrow that you can call more than acceptable in this class, and the way that he goes behind. Love his squareness, his feature, and just how bulky that thing is whenever you're up on top of him. I mean, built real wide and real thick. Young man sits in second. He is the second best one out of the back of his blade. Love the turn to his loin. Keeps it going all the way to the base of his hip and down to the surface. Doesn't have the bone or foot or ankle of what our class winner does. Doesn't maybe just have the look and elevation up front, but man, a good one into his forerib and mid-body, facilitating for spread whenever you're up on top of him. Young man that's in third. I love him up high. I wish he was better down low. A little bit of a faker. We've got his back rolled up good. You get up into his forearm and it's tucked up tighter into the center of his chest. I get behind him, and the same thing can be said about his hind legs. Not as stout as what what your top two is. Good barrow whenever you get up high on him. Good barrow to be in third in this particular class. Front 2/3 of this barrow I love. Coming out next, up-headed, and that young lady has done an extremely good job of presenting him. Just a little too flat and pancake shape behind. Needs more into the seat of his pants. Young man's it'll close the class. Just needs more to him all over. Good class there. My compliments again to the group.
The Class 19 Poland Barrows. First place, Aaron Thomas. Second, Corbin Clark. Third, Ethan Harcourt. Fourth, Erica Pearl. And fifth, James Thomas.
As we get our pair of Poland Barrows back out here, I still think there's quality amongst the pair of them. I harped on the young man's a little hard just because simply he's not the kind of barrow that I like. I wish he was a little bigger, a little more extended and better out of his hip, but I'm still glad that I put him first in that class because I do think he was the one that had the least faults about him. Then we come to our heavyweights, and I thought that class was deep in quality. We've got a big stouty there with a nice running gear to him. For as much muscle and power as he has, it'd be dang hard to beat him in this division. Young ladies, is your champion Poland. Congratulations to her. Brings out the second place barrow. He comes to you wide ribbed and good in terms of his muscle shape. A little longer about his rump, and he handles his rear two better. I like the barrow in terms of his power coming and going. I thought whenever he hit the ring, that was the best Poland that we had. I still think he's the second best one. Young man's ends up second in that class as your reserve. Congratulations to him.
Your champion Poland barrow was exhibited by Aaron Thomas, with your reserve exhibited by Corbin Clark. Congratulations to both those exhibitors.
Nice way to start their spots. I think an easy class winner for me. And I don't like to say that all the time. I know the kids work hard. I just think he kind of sticks out like a sore thumb. Big and wide and stout, big legs, and a nice look to him. Maybe handles them a little harder or sets them a little harder behind than what's probably ideal for a lightweight barrow. But I do think amongst the set of them in this class, just got so much good going for him, and there's not any of them any better in terms of the way they set behind to go ahead and beat him. So he's a logical class winner to me. The one that ends up in second, he's the most like him in terms of rib and spread. He's just not quite as correct up front. He's coming to you a little flatter on his front foot, a little plainer up through his head and the pole and the crest of his neck, and then right in behind his shoulder blade. I want it transitioning smoother. He comes up in the center of his loin and just kind of breaks in his top. I'd like to fix him up high, and I could use his hip and hind leg to probably win the class. The one that's in third, young man's there, is kind of a fast-paced one. Got a good look to him from the side. Little wide walking behind with his rear two young ladies. It was in fourth. Nice shapely hog. Not sound enough up front. Got the white barrow that for me just comes out and ends up more comfortable than the muscle hog the young lady drives. Young lady in the purple plaid shirt's got a real wide, heavy muscle one. And at this point, it's kind of led to his undoing. He's the short step in one of those top 5 or 6 of them. Got to just become better off of both ends and go with more comfort. The rest of them down the lineup are sorted on structure. Good set of spots. I thought a nice class winner. Congratulations to them all.
The results of Class 20 Spot Barrows. First place goes to Dalton Scott. Second place, Jaden Jones. Third, Caden Hankins. Fourth place goes to Elena Jude. Fifth, Destiny Crosby. Sixth place, Macy Lambermont. Seventh, Garrett Hutchison. And eighth place, Jace Flater. Congratulations to all exhibitors.
6 one way, half dozen the other. If you want to split them, you could. If you talk them right, I like the barrow that I start with because I think, again, we've got a set of spotted barrows that probably all need to move better. That one's just shape and its freshness up high in body and transition down low to a wider skeleton is what I allow to go ahead and win in the more level-eared barrow in this particular class. Very fresh in his presence, good driven hog, just one that we'd like to probably correct and loosen a step behind. The white one that's in second, the loud marked one, is a barrow. It's great in the turn to his body, good in his forerib, and opens up good coming to you. Wish he was the same way leaving me. Gets a little awkward in his spine, a little plainer about his head and through his throat. Like to elevate him up front. And the point of his blade, the barrow that's in third, is a good market hog in terms of rib and muscle. He too gets a little too plain, just a bit more stilty in the way that he uses them behind. We move down the lineup in the young man's barrow, the predominantly black hog that comes out with lots of power as he leaves you. Just got to be better up front. The rest of them there, again, it's just about structural correctness or muscle in this particular class. Congratulations again, and I say that and I mean it every time that I say it. The kids are doing an excellent job of presenting their animals. Again, give them a nice round of applause here. Great class again to work with.
The results of Class 21 spot barrows: first place, Olivia Denny; second place, Taylor Hensley; third place, Taylor Goss; fourth, Trace Thomas; fifth, Boston Clark; and sixth place, Briley Schmitz. Congratulations.
I'd like to start with the young lady's darker colored mare over here to my right. I homed it for me for relative to his contemporary here that ends up in second. Got a nicer look to his jawline. He's wider, coming right at you into the floor of his chest. And I just read him a little cleaner and more crisp about his edge. You're up on top of him. If I'm nitpicking on him, it's whenever he turns and goes away. I'd like to see more shape into his lower hip, base him just a pinch wider, maybe just recorrect his step at times. But I don't know that the other bear is any sounder than what he is. He's just a little slower walking. And so I use him from there forward to go ahead and start this class because he's just so much truer, more honest in terms of his shape, and a little nicer looking. Young lady's got a good handle on her barrow that's in second, and I can appreciate that because they're hard to drive whenever you get a big stout spotted barrow. She got one that opens up great into his mid-body, got a big spread to his back, and good in his upper hip. Probably leaves you a shot wider at the ground than the barrow does. It wins the class. Not as good looking out front of his shoulder, carrying a little extra condition through the base and the lower part of his rib, back in behind his sheath, and then whenever you study him up there into his jawline, this one's to tuck his hind legs up underneath him. Young ladies right here, looks like that barrow's kind of got everything he wanted to eat and drink. A little too full, honestly, for his size and for his stature. He looks too moderate. It's pulling his top line down. He's the least shapely one and the most nondescript of the top three. Nice barrow whenever you set him into motion. Big, wide, stout power hog that'll hang well will come next. Hog that's got to be better on his feet and legs out here in the ring. Rest of them just simply sorted on build. Congratulations to him again.
The results of Class 22 Spot Barrows. First place goes to Grace Fry. Second, Macy Clark. Third, Haley Cox. Fourth, Monroe Beeman. Fifth place, Michaela Neese. And sixth, Mackenzie Shannon.
Wednesday might be for horse and pony. I thought it was spring on Thursday.
Again, I think, you know, if you get them described right, you could probably switch the top pair. I just study them from the ground up, and the bear I start with is the widest built one coming and going, big legs, and yet still for me within this particular class can handle it good enough off of either end comparatively to what we have in second and third. He is piecey in his top line. I think he's a little loose in his hide, and maybe just doesn't give him anything good in terms of an attractive look to him up high. But that's just a wide, stout muscle hog. Good in terms of his product. Just a nice bear to go ahead and win. The bear that's in second, a little smoother build up high, and I wanted to call him sound enough to win. He is, to me, the one that's too short at his cannon. He's too just chubbed up there through his neck, and his condition reads a little too fat for me, and then he wants to duck and tuck his rear wheels up underneath him. The one that'll close the class probably takes his hind leg a little further back behind his hip there and rump, but just too many pieces from his hip forward that don't fall together with enough balance. Good class though, and a nice way to end the spots.
The results of that spot barrow class: first place, Kylie Barker; second, Kendall Brewer; and third place, Shelby Barker. Congratulations.
So we get our 4 spots back out here. Honestly, probably going to be the toughest decision to make. And I know that these homes are good, but just where you want to set your priorities. Again, for me, it's just about comfort level, and yet then still putting the extras together in terms of keeping them square and right in their shape, and the most comfortable one whenever you set them into motion. I like one of these barrows out here amongst the group of them just a little bit better from that standpoint. Young lady in the yellow shirt's got your champion spot barrow. Congratulations to her. Barrow that was second in that class comes out, and a nice hog in his rib. Gets a little high in his spine and just doesn't balance quite as well. The heavyweight barrow is just too stale for me to use. The lightweight barrow comes to me, and probably the most unique one when we let him stand, and then you ask him to go, and he is an ornery sucker that maybe just doesn't want to go just quite as well behind. You got the other barrow there that ended up winning his class, that has fought and fought and fought, and got too wide walking behind for me to want to put him in the top pair, and just a little too bothered. And I think if he stops and stands, he probably takes the best picture of any of them whenever we asked him to go. He's definitely the one that just gets a throwing him plenty hard. For me, it gets close out here amongst them, and definitely a tough decision. I like my champion because I think he has the least faults. My reserve comes to me the same way. Young ladies right here that was second in that class will be reserved.
And your champion spot barrow was exhibited by Olivia Denny, with your reserve champion exhibited by Taylor Hensley. Congratulations, fine job.
I don't raise them. probably won't raise them, but I can always respect good quality livestock whenever they come to you. Don't know what it takes to make one look like him, but I would say that he is extraordinary for his particular breed and the young man's that wins this class. We talk about the right width and the right gauge of squareness and the right bone and length of body, and yet still having what they want to talk about all the time in terms of being tall-shouldered and neat-looking and pretty, but man, still packing an extra punch. That's a Tamworth barrow that is in a league of his own in this particular class. The one that's in second, big rib cage and just a good shapely, good back barrow for Tamworth. Whenever you get up on top of him, I get right behind him, and obviously not as stout through his hind leg and down to his foot. I did think he was the wider, more genuine barrow of the barrows between second. Brandon let him go, and he good facial expression on Brandon, so I had to laugh. The barrow that ends up in third, neat looking hog from the profile, just needs to be wider base behind. Barrow that comes in 4 and 5, and just let shape sort them in just your size. So good class at Tamworth. My compliments there again. Great to work through all the way, and very intriguing class winner.
The results of your Class 24 Tamworth Barrows: first place, Ethan Ham; second, Destiny Crosby; third, William Stevenson; fourth, Rebecca Rady; and fifth, Luke Sanford. Congratulations.
Another good Tamworth barrow, good look, big rib, and very sound and very fresh. Still just a good barrow to win this class. The one that's in second, kind of the same way. You study him alone. That's a good Tamworth barrow in terms of shape and width. Maybe not quite as good moving out of his front end. The barrow that's in third, the young lady there on the far side, has length of body and leanness and trimness is good. Barrow that's just not quite as stable off either end. Then the barrow that'll close your class is much in the same way, and then just needs a shot more to him everywhere comparatively. My compliments. Again, great class of Tamworth, be an interesting top pair as they come back out.
And the results of Class 25 Tamworth Barrows: first place, Gavin Sinclair; second, Kendall Downing; third place, Allie Nichols; and fourth place, Rebecca Rady.
I never thought I'd get to the side of a Tamworth barrow to make a decision on which one of them has more to him, because so many times maybe they don't, and that's respected, because you know it's a breed where they're trying to make some positive calls and it makes some positive hogs, and I don't know how they make them. I don't know what they utilize to do it, but I would say that the strides that they've made in the last few years has been nothing short of amazing, comparatively to where we were with basically a feral pig to now all of a sudden show pigs. And so we have two very, very good representatives out here. I think to me, whenever you watch them come to you, you get right up on their back and you watch them leave and you take them down to the surface in terms of bone and foot size. We got a man-eater and we got a pair of good ones, but I do like one of them a good deal. Young Man's is my champion. Congratulations to him. Brings the young ladies out that was second in that class. Again, good representation of his breed, good shape, and a nice built one that could be just a little stouter. Intriguing look, big legs, and very correct on his feet and legs. Is the barrow that wins class 2. Not as big chested, not as big muscled as what your champion barrow was, but an impeccable barrow in his own right. My compliments to every one of them. The Tamworth breed has been very good. We've got two awesome representatives. Young Man's is reserved. Congrats to him.
Your champion Tamworth barrow was exhibited by Ethan Ham, with your reserve champion exhibited by Gavin Sinclair.
Nice set of York barrows. The one I start with, to me, is just the fault-free one within the lineup. And not saying he comes to us perfect, and maybe just go ahead and open him a shot at the ground, leaving me. I think he is the one that represents a great mold from the side, and yet still shape. He looks youthful out here. He handles the front end of his skeleton better than the barrow does that ends up in second. Power's left in 2. I think it's a classic case of build versus power in first and second, where I go ahead and set all the muscle into 2 there because he's got to go better up front. He's too stilty up front, and then as a result it shortens his step behind, a little too thick at the crest of his neck for a lightweight York barrow, and then just got to go ahead and make sure that he gets the moving better. But man, I love his width, I love his bolt. I do think he's stronger on his pasterns when it is the barrow that's in third. Love the profile, the bone, and just the foot size whenever you get down to him on the barrow that's in third. I just think he's a little long in his foot. I think he's just a little too deep on his pasterns, but it still allows him to take a more comfortable stride out of his front end than what the barrow does that's here in fourth. Got a moderate wide, thick one in fourth that's just not good enough moving as we continue to let the top 4 drive up front. We've got to change him and then just pick him up a shot in terms of his frame for me. Got a real heavy muscled one that just moves too straight on both ends, and then we move down the lineup and we've got to go ahead and build those hogs better, so I sort them just simply on muscle. Congratulations to the group of them. I think it's still a very nice class runner to set into the Yorkshires. Give these kids a nice round of applause. Working hard.
And the results of Class 26 Yorkshire Barrows. First place goes to Brinley Clark. Second place, Brett Van Rensselaer. Third place, Felicia Sanders. Also like to make mention, she is the recipient of the Farm Bureau sponsored 10-year award. Congratulations to her. That's Felicia Sanders. Fourth place, Alexandra Dobbs. Fifth place, Haley Stevenson. Sixth, Danica Obershiner. Seventh, Caden Cash. And eighth place goes to Hannah York. Congratulations to all those fine exhibitors. We will be taking another short break, very brief, between the barrow show and the beginning of showmanship, just long enough to wet down the show arena. That will be between the conclusion of the barrows and showmanship. Put a big shout out to Endeavor Communications. They are live streaming the Swine Show here today. You'll be able to catch it later on if you want to on their YouTube channel. Thank you to Endeavor Communications for doing that for us. They'll also be in here videoing and streaming other events throughout the week here in the Inside Arena.
Honestly, it's a deep class of York barrows comparatively what we've had, you know, and I'm not taking anything away from them other classes or the other class. I think we had some good ones there, but I do think the depth of quality's turned up a notch more in this class. Young man's barrow I start with, to me, he's just the one that isn't going to get you out there anywhere, but man, he is square and his fundamentals are right and he's fresh. Chine's buried down a little farther between his blade and the other one. His pasturings are stronger, his front feet stronger, and he turns and goes with a cleaner joint whenever he does it. I love that barrow's shape, and I think he's filled up right for his frame. Everything fits together very, very well. The barrow that's in second, I think from the profile, it looks like maybe he's a little longer hip, maybe takes his hind leg a little further back behind him, and he's stouter about his hind leg. I watch him go away from me, and I get the most critical on his right hind leg in particular, where he's got some swelling. He's wanting to push his wheels outside of his body as the drive continues. Then he gets deeper on his front foot. If you like that bone and you like his shape and you can call him square enough leaving you, he's the better one in the class. For me, he's got to be square and better on his pastures. Young man's from the profile is unbeatable in this class. You step off of him, and from the outside looking in, you probably think, hey, no, there's the better one. And he's in third, up-headed and good-looking and sound. I get in behind him amongst the top pair of them, and there's not as much there. Right into the seat of his pants, and from there down to his base of his skeleton, he really wants to turn his hind legs in. Not as much true feature to it, but a very nice barrow as well. This one looks a little far past his prime, but there was probably a day that was one big-legged, big-ribbed, stout-mugged one that just needs to be square. Whenever I get behind him in his right one, got to clean him up front and just freshen his presence up out here in the ring. Young ladies, is a solid Yorkshire barrow, not a huge hole in him anywhere, just doesn't have what those four do ahead of him. I know that's general and a very general statement, but he doesn't, and I hope we can agree with that. Needs to be stouter everywhere. Young ladies, bigger eared barrow comes out, and you like his flexibility, needs more in terms of muscle. Same thing down the lineup, we sort them on feet and legs. Good job done to the group of them. I think an excellent top pair.
Results of that Yorkshire barrow class: first place goes to Branson Hanley, second Lindsey Hood, third William Boucher, fourth place Ethan Mayer, fifth place goes to Elena Chu, sixth Liliana Barnhart, seventh place Carter Thomas, eighth Sabrina Leonard, and ninth place Clayton McKinney. Congratulations, exhibitors.
young man right here has got my class winner again. Just kind of surpasses the rest of them, being just a little bit better in terms of his squareness up high. Same thing at you. A barrow that's probably a little wide walking behind, but in this respected class, very good front 2/3 and an easy place to go ahead and start. Amongst the pair of longer bodied, bigger scaled barrows, one of them has more shape, and that's the young lady's. Young man's there. Whenever you get to him, just needs more everywhere in terms of his blade, his base width, and we like to just go ahead and square his hind wheels up leaving. But good class of them there to go ahead and represent our heavyweight white ones. Very nice barrow to win.
The results of that Yorkshire Barrow class: first place, Drew Boyette; second, Andrea Neese; and third, Brant Sheldon. Congratulations, exhibitors.
Bill 3 York barrows back out, and just like my old judging coach said, he said, hey, you think about it too long and you'll get them wrong. And we always got made a little song about it. I think all three of these barrows are good. It takes not much thinking to know which one is the best one. He came out of class 2. Young man's is your champion, York. Congratulations to him. Brings out the barrow that was second in that class, and like I talked about, he probably drives off a stouter hind leg. Love his width of chest and his rib cage. Think that he got a little too flat on his feet and wanted to push a hawk just a pinch forward, but a darn good one. I thought that was a deep class of white barrows. She has definitely got the second best one to me. Young lady's reserve. Congratulations to her.
Your champion Yorkshire Barrow was exhibited by Branson Hanley, with reserve champion exhibited by Lindsay Hood. Congratulations, exhibitors. Once again, we will be taking a very brief break between the crossbred barrows. Conclusion of those and the beginning of showmanship, long enough to let the show arena down. It will be very brief.
Nice way to start the crosses. Got a good looking, shapely one to do so. And yeah, still handles it well on both ends. I like the blue belted bear. I think there's days ahead of that guy. He could get real good. Big legs and nice looking. I just needs to come out here and probably be a little more correct, obviously in his attitude, so we can get a good look at him. And then up front, I do think he probably gets a little deeper on his front foot than what we would term ideal. My young buddy there in third, they got a belted hog that's real shapely. I like the hog whenever he comes at you and he leaves you real wide and square. It's just a bit too round on both ends for me, but a nice built one there. And again, I love the utilization of the old school stick. The one that comes out here next, a barrow that you got to appreciate in terms of his bone and muscle shape. Too wide whenever you get in behind him. He's a little wide at his hocks, too short in his rump. And we get down to the bottom pair and just simply let him go ahead and sort, bottom trio, let him sort in terms of muscle and composition for lightweights. Like that set of barrows. Good one to go ahead and win.
The results of Class 29 Crossbred Barrows. First place goes to Garrett Haven. Second place, Shelby Woods. Third, Ethan Lawler. Fourth, Zachary Kaufman. Fifth, Jasmine Reed. Sixth place, Aubrey Bennett. And seventh, Chloe Tumal. Congratulations, exhibitors.
Go back and publish lawsuits and what happened with
I sure like this pair of barrows, and probably you know, the toughest decision and just how to split them. I think whenever you weigh the checks and balances and you build them right from the ground up, the barrow that will leave you square and more correct in terms of his hip and hind leg is the barrow that I start with. He's within the inseams of his body. He's more comfortable whenever you ask him to drive. And then I think from there forward, he still has rib. His shape lays on him wide and smooth. If I'm changing him, I want to stout the end of his jaw. I could go ahead and pick him up. Just one skosh on his front foot. But I still think, to me, he's the one that combines the goods in this particular class, does it the squarest and the most correct as we ask them to move. It's hard for me to put a barrow that's built like this one from the side in second. We like showing barrows with that head carriage, that boldness of upper blade and back and hip, and yet still I think that he matches it at the ground. He's got to go better behind, and that's the biggest criticism for me. His length of hip to me reads short, and then you get right in behind him, and he wants to put a little pressure on the outside of his foot, push his hock just ever so slightly out of his body, coming right to me. And even from the profile, you'll watch his forearm deviate. He's got to be square at his knees coming at you, and just more genuine in his bottom side of his skeleton for me to call him a class winner. That's what I love about Old Blue here in 3. I think he's probably the widest built one of any of them. Got a tremendously big and broad back in him. He's a little thicker at his pole and right there into the top side of his neck, and where it transitions into his shoulder. I think to me that little extra fill or swelling back there behind his sheath does him no justice, because when he walks and that hits the insides of his legs, it's almost like he wants to throw them outside of his body. If he doesn't do that, it may be a different case, because man, I love so many things about it. Belted Honk's 4, and he's 4 in a good class, and he's got feature, he's got muscle. He's just a little too plain in comparison. The red roan hog that's in 5 down here, nice built one that gets too round in his hip, needs more shape. Getting down the lineup, and again, just sorting them on muscle alone is the way that I split the bottom pair. The belted barrow that's there in 6 just needs to go ahead and move better behind young lady's red roan barrow. Will close the class nice in terms of length of body and muscle shape. Just needs to be better moving behind. Awesome class, very confident as I continue to talk the top pair. That's the way they need to go. Just a more genuine barrow to win. Congratulations to them all.
The results of your Class 30 Crossbred Barrows. First place goes to Dalton Scott. Second place, Brent Dewey. Third, Lindsay Hood. Fourth, Hannah York. Fifth, Callie Buckman. Sixth place, Felicia Sanders. And seventh, Bailey Haddon. Congratulations.
Very, very, very good class. Lots of quality in here. Guys, I like this belted barrow a lot. He came in and he's got the right look to him coming to you. Big arm, stout head, neat look to his back, very stout in his hind leg, good in his rib and clean in his joints and comfortable whenever you ask him to go. Just a very solid barrow. We maybe whenever we get back there to the pen, if there's any possibility of getting him to fire up to drive him maybe just a little more aggressively like a few of the other ones, I think all of a sudden it's easy to find him in the class. I still think it is just simply based on his build. Impeccable barrow to win this particular class. The one that ends up in second is incredibly good from the profile. I think he's the up-headed barrow that probably just lays his spine a little deeper between his shoulder and hip than your class winner. One look at him coming to me and I think it tells the story of him from there back to the lower side of his skeleton. He's got to be better through his knee and down through his chest, and then you get right behind him where his knee and front arm sets, his hind leg will set down low. He's got a big puffy back in him. I just wish he was more genuine towards the base of his skeleton. That's what I like about this barrow. Structure alone allows that hog to stay in the top three. He gets too flat on his front foot, too flat in his blade, and then whenever you get right up to the upper part of his skeleton, doesn't have near the shape of what those top two barrows do. The barrow that's in four, moderate, chubby barrow, and again, gets too far down on his feet and just wants to hesitate more out of the front side of his skeleton from there down. I let this hog sort on just simple muscle and composition throughout the lineup. I think there's a good set of them. Very nice pair of barrows there that will come out for them young ladies. And then we get down into the bottom side of the class and hogs that just need more to them. I think a good class, a very intriguing class winner. Congrats to them all.
The results of your Class 31 Crossbred barrows. First place, Corbin White. Second, Gavin Sinclair. Third, Adeline Cox. Fourth place, Nicholas Sutherland. Fifth, Chloe Inman Jenkinson. Sixth place, Brooke Hensley. Seventh, Brian Waschel. And eighth place, Logan Tumal.
Like a great class again, as we sort through them. To me, the top pair have similarities of rib and feature one look at them coming at you, and the same thing as they turn and walk right away. The Belted Barrow is a class winner. Very good in terms of freshness of body. Awesome whenever you're right up on top of him, taking him out of the back of his shoulder into his forerib and back. Incredibly big spread to him. Wide in his upper hip. Get down into the base of his hip. He's still that much wider. And then a barrow that from the profile will reach and go, be as athletic as you can build one. I think he's right there. You know, he turns and wants to walk away from you. Maybe pushes the limits, and his right one in particular, little twisted up front, but I do think from there up, he's as good of a barrow as we've had hit the ring so far in terms of spread and freshness. Incredibly good barrow to win this particular class. The barrow that ends up here next is one that, again, you can really appreciate in terms of just how wide he is. Not another one from stifle to stifle that's been any wider than what the black-headed barrow is. Got a nice look to him out front, but at the same time, I got a stout in his jaw and square his rear too as he turns. A nice barrow in terms of muscle shape. Composition to me is still good on that hog in comparison to what we have down the lineup. Got the skunk-headed barrow that comes out big in his mug and bold in his arm. Lots of power and product laid into his top line. A barrow that turns and leaves me too coarse. Same thing whenever you get into the mid part of his body and start to study him in behind his sheath. He's got a little swelling we'd like to clean up down the lineup, and a set of hogs that all move good enough. I just, again, sort them on simple boldness and muscle, and just what I would call a little more product in the upper end of these class, or upper end of the middle side of this class. So awesome class, a very, very good class winner there. Again, my compliments to each and every exhibitor, working very hard in a good class of show barrows.
The results of Class 32 Crossbred Barrows. First place, Branson Hanley. Second place goes to William Busher. Third, Coy Thomas. Fourth, Adelia Thomas. Fifth place, Blake Reed. Sixth place, Jasmine Reed. And seventh, Darnell Bennett. Congratulations to those exhibitors.
Outstanding class again. Very, very good class winner. He's a barrow that, you know, obviously he's got a little fight in him, but I would too if I was that stout. a big, bold, wide, square one, and then yeah, still moves good. Got a show ring kind of a look to him. You know, I think it'll be interesting as we bring some barrows that were maybe in classes before and where he'll set muscle-wise, leaving you. But I do think in this particular class, there's the stout, good-looking barrow. It's got a giant rib cage in him, impeccably built the ground and the surface, and you watch his hind leg move, and we hope that most would move the way that he does behind. The blue barrow, whenever you get right up to him, he's a little cleaner right up over his forehead, probably a little cleaner turn to his back than even your class winner. As I work from there back, I think to me as we drop out of the base of his hip, that barrow just gets a little too flat and wanting to twist in his rear feet. Then whenever you watch his hind leg go, it's just a pinch outside of him, not as good looking. Out in front of his shoulder is what your class winner is, midsection of his body from there back. That is a very, very good crossbred barrow. The black one that comes out next, just a lean, shapely, hard-backed one. It's got kind of a bubbly hip leaving you. Got to loosen him up. He's a little long-footed up front, and I don't think that it does him any justice whenever you set those hogs in motion for him to move good enough. We've got to go ahead and do those things and fix his front foot. Looks like maybe he's just kind of fighting it right now as he's starting to put some weight on and then pinching up into his ham loin. Berkshire barrow's got big legs and he's good in terms of his muscle. I would anticipate cutout to be good on that particular barrow. He's a little plain-throated out here and just not quite as much mid-rib and flank. He's still square and sounder than what we have left. From there down the lineup, I just simply sort them on their shape and their feature. Good class. Congrats to the group of them. Very good class winner.
Class 33 crossbred barrows. First place goes to Brickley Oliver. Second place, Callie Whaley. Third, Lane Parent. Fourth, Bishop Stockup. Fifth place, Colby Harcourt. Sixth, Carter Thomas. And seventh, Brett Van Rensselaer. Congratulations to all exhibitors. We have an item at the announcer stand in the inside arena. If you've lost an item, come see us, describe it to us, and we'll return it.
Contrasting pair at the top end of the drive. I use the black barrow to start because to me, whenever you take his neck and you tie it down towards his shoulder, it just reads with more length and he still has feature to his head. A barrow that opens up great big in the center of his blade. Awesome whenever you get up on top of him in terms of curvature and shape to his back, and then he leaves you with some wide spread to him. He's a hog that if I'm going to change him again, probably just a little twisted up front and we can fix his knee and lengthen his rump from the profile profile. I don't see one any better in those specific areas that has his shape, his fresh look, and that presence to the profile. So I go ahead and start with him. The bigger, stouter featured, more rugged designed hogs in second. And man, is he bold into his mid-blade, back into his heart and sternum, and all the way from there back. A powerful show barrow. He just a little too thick up in the crest of his neck for me. Chine starting to show up between his blade. I get right behind him, and he's just too coarse on the inside of his joints, but a very nice barrow there in 2. Young lady's black belted barrow there that's in 3. Got a good look to his shape and good look to his back. A hog that closes more underneath, and then he just gets a little chubbier cheek. And you watch him turn and leave you too wide whenever he walks. Rest of them down the lineup again, just simply sorted on build alone, and then having some shape to them with the blue hog here. Nice set of barrows here as we end up our second to last class of them. Commend those kids with a good round of applause. Working hard here in the heat of the day. Good class to work through.
The results of Class 34 Crossbred Barrows: first place, Brent Shuey; second place, Drew Boyette; third, Callie Whaley; fourth place, Jory Beasley; and fifth place, Jory Beasley.
Like up and down.
We finalize into our crossbred barrows here. We've got a good top pair of them again that kind of contrast in their build, and I do think it's kind of a power versus build deal. The barrow that I start with, though, I don't know that again, that he's just perfect up front like we'd like to maybe make him. He's a little more cumbersome moving, but he just got so much more everywhere, guys. I mean, whenever you're out here next to him, it's hard not to use him in class because he's got so much more blade, so much more shape. He's incredibly stout hipped, and he's big bone, and everything just in a basic sense fits together very well on him. Would I love to fix his front feet? Absolutely, and then I think he's an easy class winner. The redneck roan barrow that's in 2 here is an incredibly good barrow, and just in terms of his build, and so many times I wanted to start with him because of it. I think in a heavyweight market hog setting, they've got to have more shape, and I know that maybe we've got a little hold on him and he's gotten kind of stale, but man, whenever you're up next to him, again, a little fishy looking in his back and just needs spread all the way throughout his skeleton. This guy's got it. He just can't handle it good enough. Behind, he gets too tied up in his hip. Got a little swelling in behind his sheath. Up front, I got to fix his front foot as he drives. The white barrow comes out here next. Sound in his skeleton. Nice hip tug whenever you get off to the side of it. Needs to come to you better. We've got the young ladies who will come out here next. A hog that just for me has a little bit more spread into his mid-body, and he transitions better down his top line than the red hog does. Both of those barrows need to be more correct behind and just come with more power in a heavyweight setting. Awesome class to work through. I ask you to put your hands together for your last class of crossbred barrows. Very good class.
And the class 35 crossbred barrows results. First place, Ethan Harcourt. Second, Avery Brook. Third, William Boot. Fourth place goes to Molly Trammell. Fifth, Liliana Stanley. And sixth, Hunter Haddon. Congratulations, exhibitors. We will have a selection of the champion and reserve champion crossbred barrows. We will take a short, brief break, long enough to wet down the show ring, and then we will come back with the rookie showmanship class 1 to start with. So rookie showmanship class 1, be on standby.
Put your hands together for a good set of crossbred barrows. 7 good classes. Excellent kids driving them, very intriguing as we get all of our class winners back out. And I think you have to get nitpicky whenever you wade through each one of them and you find your preference and what you like in those classes, and they've been good enough classes to find what you like. And maybe some of them, maybe not just the kind that you always want to seek and feed and have at your house, but you got to just weigh them out. If you're simply just on the outside of the ring trying to end up catching up or keeping up with me in terms of length of body or hip height or anything like that, you're probably lost. But if you could come out here and build them right with me from the ground up, then I think we're on the same page. We got hogs out here that to me, not only are they the right kind of build for their particular classes, but they have the extras. And I think from that standpoint, one of them kind of puts together what every one of them probably has in terms of some bone, in terms of some muscle, in terms of having some look, and then yet still a nice running gear. I think the surface out here, is probably forgiving for some that aren't sound enough, and can be a little unforgiving on those that probably get a little down on their foot at times because they may twist just a pinch. Whenever I can get him to walk and just go square and get to going, I think he is impeccably good on each end of his body. Awesome up high. Not another one built like him out here. Hard not to use him. Young man's belted barrels your champion. Congratulations to him. boys and the mare that was second in that class. So we talked about him and just kind of how he felt right there in the second pretty handily. Nice look to him out front, wide build, big shoulder blade. Like him whenever you get right up on top of it. I think the one that probably pushed your champion the hardest is one that to me is impeccably built behind. Awesome spine, good rib cage. Love his look. And I talked about him in his particular class. He too probably gets a little down on his foot. Maybe just not the stoutest out front of his shoulder, but from there back, a very good barrow. He looks the most like your champion in a few of these other ones that I have out here, and I think about it and I look at it and I liked a couple of these. I wish maybe one of them probably just hooked up and went a pinch better out of his hip. I wish one of them would settle down and drive, and then from that standpoint it leaves me with another one I do like a good deal. I think he's good right now. He'll be good later as well. Young man's barrow right here is my reserve cross. Congratulations to him.
And Crossbred barrow was exhibited by Branson Hanley with the reserve champion exhibited by Dalton Scott. Congratulations to those exhibitors. We will take a very brief time break, just long enough to wet down the show arena, then come back in. We will call you shortly for Class 1 Rookie Showmanship. Class 1 Rookie Showmanship, we'll be calling you shortly.